when the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Good morning, book clubbers. How you doing? I know the world is falling apart, but we still have books and we still have dancing. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm Jeff Kanata. I'm with Lana Bachynski. Hi, Lana.
Hello, good morning. We gotta be out here because these hounds aren't gonna toll themselves, baby.
Oh, that is for sure. That is for sure. We are getting into it. Home stretch of Toll the Hounds. We are in chapters 19 and 20 this week. Pretty big stuff going on. Heavy, some heavy stuff going on. And I feel like we're ramping up. We're getting to that convergence that always happens. And I'm pretty excited about it. But you know, we'd love to start the show with a non-spoiler topic, ideally sent in by you, which you can do if you have an idea for a topic. Send it to us, dlcfeedback@gmail.com. You can also post it on the Discord, which is 5x5DLC on Discord. The book club threads there are awesome. This one is another one that comes from Dusty. Our friend Dusty writes in, hi, Jeff and Lana. I know both of you are reading the Malazan books on your Kindle. True. I am also a Kindle enjoyer, so I was wondering how you accessorize your device. I have two cases that I rotate between depending on my mood. One is a case with a magnetic cover that puts the Kindle in sleep mode when it's closed, and the other is a clear silicone case with no cover. With the silicone case, I can put stickers in between the case and the device for extra customization. I also have a pop socket on the back to make it easier to hold the Kindle one-handed. What do you guys add to your Kindle, if anything? Thanks, Dusty. What's a pop socket? Do you know what that is?
I sure do because I'm so youthful. Pop socket is like a little, I think the pop socket is the brand, but it sticks on the back of like a phone or something. And it usually has like a little ring or something on it, or it's either got a ring or it actually pops out like a little suction device so that you can sort of nestle it between your fingers. And it just is like a little handle that sits on the back of your phone that lets you grip it.
Schmancy.
I haven't heard of it for the Kindle, though. That is schmancy on the Kindle. That's
pretty good. So you can just have it on your hand. Wherever you put your hand is where the Kindle is. You just reading.
I wedge my Kindle into my watch, actually. When
Do
I
you
want
really?
to hold, when I want to read one-handed and I'm lazy, I wedge the corner in the watch, and then I barely have to do anything. But it's on the wrong side to change the page. But yeah, PopSocket is genius.
That's pretty good. That's some high-level stuff that I would never even have thought of, frankly. So do you bling out your Kindle?
My Kindle is so blinged out with damage. I should bling out my Kindle. I don't. It is like the form factor of it, the actual, I'm sure you can get cases that like have like a smoothness of the material. But when I travel, which is the main reason I got the Kindle or was gifted my first Kindle in the first place, is I was traveling with like, I'm going to say fully 20 pounds of books that I would carry with me.
Yeah.
And so my friends finally were like, I'm sick of witnessing this happen. And so they got together and got me a Kindle. And just this, my bag is usually still so full of other stuff. I have to travel with my laptop and headphones and controller, like all the switches in there.
You got so much room. Those books aren't in there. You can fill it with other heavy stuff.
Exactly. But my bag is always so full that being able to just have this and like slip it in is so good. So I'm in denial about being very clumsy. What I really want to look into on my phone, I have like a mouse case, which is, in my opinion, the best. I had a mouse case before they were a nonstop onslaught of YouTube ads for me. But something, I've got like the screen is scratched now. I, more than anybody,
because you don't have a case on it. Cases protect things.
The the pop socket, I haven't thought about like the efficiency that gains I could get by doing things to the Kindle exterior. But I am getting to that point where I have to realize that I am breaking this slowly, and I don't want to buy another new Kindle, and I should definitely be getting a case on there. So right now it's just covered in like, I think literally dog bites and gravel scratches and messed up screen shake from falling out of the car and whatever else.
It's been through some stuff.
My Kindle's, been
It's
in its
lived a
own
life.
chain of dogs.
It's been through the chain of time. I think the downside of your of adding a case would be that you wouldn't not be able to do your watch band holding technique
It's
anymore.
so good.
You're too thick.
Look, it just sits here.
Wow, look at that.
That's
some high level
laziness. Let me tell you, I can get behind some high level laziness for that.
All right, my Kindle is moderately blinged. This is my Kindle.
Oh, cute!
I have a sticker on it from my friend JP Couvert, who is a cartoonist and an illustrator, and he did the map that was formerly crooked that made everybody go apoplectic because it was on my wall crooked, which I understand. Hey, I that's a mea culpa. I shouldn't have allowed that to happen. But he did the map for Dungeon Run and has done a lot of things. He's amazing, little cartoon. He did these 6 stickers. He sent me one, and I was like, oh, what better thing to put on my Kindle? Because honestly, I also have the case, and I like. I don't know if you can tell. This is a
looks lavender
denim case.
Oh, denim.
Yeah, it's like faux denim.
Mm.
It's got texture. I know you said you like the smoothness, but I like a little texture. I like a
tactile experience.
Yeah. So the only bad thing is it has started to kind of fray at the top. I had to snip some hang dog.
Look, that's the fashion
stuff.
These days. The kids are loving the frayed denim.
Yeah, it's pre-distressed. But I like what I was going to say was, even though it has this case on it that is not, a typical color in my house, I'd still like having the sticker because it's easy for me to find it when I lay it somewhere. I see the sticker. It's a colorful sticker. It's unique. It stands out.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the only thing, other thing I was going to say about this case is what I love about it is it has the thing that Dusty was talking about, which is you open it and it comes to life, and you close it and it goes to sleep. It's got the magnetic. I like that. But you know what I never do? I know you're supposed to be able to fold these back. I never do that. I never fold it all the way around. I always hold it like an open book.
Oh, that's sweet.
I don't know
why. That's like very adorable.
I can't do that with paperbacks either. I see people sometimes wrapping a paperback cover all the way around to the back, and it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. If you're
cracking the spine, you can like fold it over lightly. A little light curl to the front.
I don't know.
I get down with that. It's all about the efficiency. If I have to use 2 hands, how can I eat popcorn and read a book at the same time? Can't do it.
I do like the fact that when I was little and I would read paperback, when I was younger, when I was a baby, when I was younger and I would read paperbacks like in bed or something, and you could lay down on the pillow and hold, and there was like one side of the open book that was really convenient for that, and then the other side was super not convenient for that, and it was always annoying when you turn the page. That's what's so great about the Kindle, is that it's only ever convenient for that. Mm-hmm. It's just the one side.
Yeah, the worst thing that happens is I definitely fall asleep and wake up to it hitting me in the face from dropping it.
My wife does that all the time.
Shocking regularity. It's only a couple inches, but man, that thing it's smart.
It'll whack you.
It's smarts. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what you really need to bling out your Kindle with, is like an airbag. Safety.
Here's what I daydream about: a contraption that it would be like a stand that's like a lap desk.
They have those.
That you just lie there and it's in front of my face, and then I want like a remote PowerPoint clicker.
So they have those.
I'm sure they do.
There's somebody sent me an image of them. No, I think Dave Chen does it.
No,
I think
really?
Our friend Dave Chen. He has a mount that he puts his Kindle in, and he has a remote control clicker thingy that like turns the page, and he just lays there completely supine and listless.
That's
You
what I
know?
need. All of my physical ailments will go away if I could do that. So I'm not like wedging blankets and pillows to try and lie on my side with the Kindle like smushed into a blanket with like trying to miss that bottom.
This is
It's
no.
like so painfully like it feels so lame to be like, what's that? Well, it's my Kindle It's just hold the book. Just hold the book or go to bed.
It's my robot Kindle arm.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
my contraption for sleeping and reading. Feels like too much. Gets past a point to me.
I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. I need things that make it less likely for me to fall asleep while reading. You know what I mean? I don't want to be super comfortable while reading. I got to be I got to have something that's required of me.
It's
you
the
know?
only thing. These worlds are the only thing that will pull my brain out of the running to-do list of everything I need to do the next day, and I need to read, or I won't sleep.
Well, this is a great topic. Thank you, Dusty,
Thanks,
for
Dusty.
sending that in. Hey, if other people have blinged out Kindles, send us pictures. I'd love to see them. Post them in the Discord or send them to dlcfeedback@gmail.com. I want to see some blinged out Kindy blings. I don't know. I'm trying it. I was trying it. Not super successful. Okay. You know what is super successful? These chapters. Chapter 19 and 20. Let's get into it. Spoilers. Starting now. We start chapter 19, of course, Murillo having been killed in the duel. And Krupp is none too happy about it. I'm so in love with this narration device that's employed in this novel, and how Krupp is like, you could feel his frustration at Murillo's fate and the sort of injustice of all of it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
He describes the ox cart with Murillo's body coming back, and the cart driver just like, I just need some breakfast first. I mean, I know I got a dead body in the back, but it's not going anywhere. Gotta have my Wheaties before I give people bad news.
Yeah. You can't break bad news on an empty stomach.
No, I got less likely to get a good meal once people are sad.
It's also one of those things that I feel like there's so many connections and so many people in the book that like remembering exactly who is like best buddies with who can get lost, and having that narration of Krupp even sort of interrupt itself, like being less of that like jovial, like, now look, see here, blah, blah, blah. If it's like, it's got this sharper edge to it, and the narration going, I'm so sorry, I've lost a friend.
Yeah.
In the narration as it's talking about the guy bringing him in. It just is so
incredible.
Great.
It's so good. Also, this chapter 19 is bookended with this incredible
I pulled it, baby.
Oh yeah, so did I. but it's an incredible, it's not, I mean, metaphor is the wrong word. It's a I don't know, conceit, this observation that is used to illustrate starting with this starting with the breath of love, ending with the breath of grief. Like that bookend in this chapter is just, I thought, so beautifully employed. Really loved it. Okay.
Agreed.
So we go from that to Crocus, who is Cutter Crocus. He's in Crocus mode, full Crocus mode.
Yeah,
like,
big Crocus
who do I
mode.
love?
Is this like a crush? Is this real? Do girls like me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun getting it on with ladies, but I need something deeper. And who loves me really for realsies?
I really have to think about, like, I have to take some time to process for me right now. It's like not a you thing. It's a me thing.
Yeah. And the sad irony of him being like, man, I could be like Murillo. He's got it all together. Like not yet knowing that Murillo has been killed. Yeah. And he walks into this warehouse and meets up with Chalice. Chalice says, hey, my hubby knows. He's onto us. He knows what's been going down. And Crocus is like, you kind of like that he knows. It feels icky and weird.
Yeah, I feel like the edge of like the intensity to her writing and like you have to do something about this,
Yeah.
and Crocus's observations of her clearly being excited about this, I present such a manic picture. I feel like I can see this
Yeah.
so clearly of her desperation, but also sort of poisoned longing for freedom, for sex, for a husband to be nice to her, for like all of these things sort of swirling around in this, resulting in like these demands of Cutter to like, oh, do your thing. This is what you have to do. This for it's for us, baby. It's for us.
Yeah.
But like it's the self-serving, the lace of self-serving cannot go unseen.
And the contrast with his sort of, ennui, his his lack of investment in all of it, and like, the strange even lack of concern for his own well-being, and just like, oh really, oh he's gonna come kill me, okay, all right, well, so what do you want me to do then? Oh, surprise, you want me to kill him?
Oh, you want me to put my life on the line for this to go get him? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. And that weird sort of biting retort that he has about her. He's like, you and he want this to happen. I'm just a pawn in this whole game. You're just going to keep doing this with different lovers.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to kill them. It's going to get you off. It's like, it's a weird perversion that you two are engaging in.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, I love you. She's like, I don't think she means that.
I don't think she knows what that would really feel like.
Yeah.
And even, Crocus' observation, I think, during this is like, she's clearly just saying all these things because she's desperate to say anything to feel like she has power, that she wants freedom. And even his understanding of being like, and why shouldn't she do that? Like, it's not like what she's doing is wrong. She's been through some crap with this guy and with like this situation of her life, even as privileged as it is, his like understanding of like, why shouldn't she behave this way? It sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows what she's saying. I don't think she understands the depths of her own self-preservation here, but I liked him sort of pulling
I agree.
that.
Yeah. It's conniving, it's manipulative, but it's not unsympathetic, right?
Yeah.
You understand where it comes from, and you're like, man, she is in a crappy situation. I get it. Yeah. So then we head over back to the mines, and Krupp wants to tell us about Venaz, the sort of young gang leader guy that Harlo and Banisk are always talking about.
Yeah, big Snell energy from this guy.
Snell energy, yeah. Snell like in a couple of years, right? Snell in a little bit more mature, a little more integrated into a community of jerkwads, and he also, we get a little bit of insight into what makes him tick, right? A little sympathy for Venaz as well, because he was sold by his stepfather, and his mom's an alcoholic. She doesn't even care that he was sold. The first thing she thinks of is the money that he got, and she's going to just drink that money. So you get a little like, hurt people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see Venaz, we get his POV, and he's like, I can't show my weakness. I got to be the leader here. They're all going to try to undermine me and usurp my power if I show even the tiniest bit of weakness. So he like strides up to these three worker dudes, and he's like trying to be all big and awesome. And the dudes are like, what, kid? What? Smack?
The even older, more jaded, more hardened, hurt people.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
I loved that, where it's like, it just seems so real and so true that every step up the ladder, the echelon here of despicable behavior is this. And Venaz is completely sort of blind to it until they force him to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even then it's like, well, I gotta make sure these kids know that I'm still the boss, you know?
Yeah. Like,
So good.
you think you can get up this ladder? You think you get to be like an older person in the mines without having seen way tougher, way bigger than you, kid? Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't care about what the big guy says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You think him getting into a duel means anything to us at all? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, so good. Then we get to Harlo's POV. Harlo is in the silver mine. Every time we're describing the claustrophobic, scooting deeper and deeper into these uncharted, unsafe places. Like it really makes my skin crawl. Like this, that is such a horrific notion to me of pushing yourself, squeezing further and further, not knowing if you're going to get stuck. Ooh. And even though for Harlo, it's this like very positive feeling. It feels like his happy place in a weird way. It still makes me really
that
freak
opening
out.
scene with him being like, "Oh, a silver vein," and just being like, "The silver on my tum tum," like slithering around in the crevasse. I was also like, "Crevice, huh?"
Yeah,
just loving that crevice.
No, thank you. Yeah, he's got like special shoes, and he has to pull his toes and squirm his way back out. And I was like, oh,
even him like squirming his way back out. Sorry, I'm sort of spinning right into this sequence. Him like slowly working his way out of the crevice and then being pulled the rest of the way. And like hitting his face. Ugh. It's just like the danger is right there. The danger is right there.
So awful.
Really brutal.
Yeah, but this whole sequence that starts here is, thrilling. I just think, masterful. I was so in it. I was like, total page turner. Harlo and Bainisk. Bainisk pulls him out and is like, dude, there's somebody that came looking for you. He got murdered. We got to get out of here. It's bad. And Harlo like, what do you mean? Where are we going to go? And Venus is like, I've been thinking about this. There's a way out. We just got to scale this unscalable cliff.
We got to go. Well, they're like, we're going to go through these tunnels and it's okay. I'm pretty sure there's a way out because it all fell into a lake on the other side. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a way out.
Pretty sure there's a way out.
Sounds
pretty
like
sure.
Or you're in it and the more could just slide into the lake at any minute. Or like, oh, it's a lake. Is it just filled up with water? Like there's so many different like dangers, but the danger here is 100%. And so going through this forwards to try and find freedom, Bainisk grabs a rope and ties it around Harlo to sort of keep them together. And then immediately as they start going, there's just filling up with ice cold water. And the description of Bainisk powering forward and like the adrenaline and the fear driving him versus Harlo, who's just like slowly freezing in the water. I don't know if anybody or you, Jeff, have ever swam in like really, really ice cold water. How your body just stops working.
Yeah.
Like all your muscles are like hard to use. And so this description of, I'm like, I can feel it in my bones listening to this of what that would be like. And then trying to get your muscles working again to like get going and just trying to survive. It's a thrilling little sequence.
100% agree. And the way it starts, their ankles and it's already freezing, teeth chattering up to their, shins, totally cold. And then the solution is Bainisk is like, okay, we got to go completely submerged. We got to go down through the water into like deeper. And it's like, what? Are you nuts? And, Harlo basically losing consciousness and Bainisk just pulling him, tugging him through. Crazy. And then they do get through. They get to this cliff. Bainisk is like, okay, we got to just scale this. Here we go. We're gonna free solo this
this sheer rock face.
Yeah. And they start going up, and of course, by this point we've already learned Bainisk's this compulsion to see the city. This pedestal that he's put Darujhistan on as some sort of
Place of wonder and
yes.
and harmony.
Yes.
Anything is possible there.
Yes. What was the word I was looking for? It escapes me, but yeah, like a utopian vision. And then, poor Harlo, like, do I tell him it sucks there?
There's still a lot of people that kind of like these people there. Yeah.
Elysium is the word I was looking for, like in a sort of Elysium.
Yeah.
So we and I mean, this sequence is, as you said, so thrilling. We get this point where Bainisk, Harlow's calling out for him. Bainisk is higher up on the cliff. He doesn't answer because he sees Venaz and his crew looking down, and he makes this desperate decision to cut the rope. And I mean, I was like breath hold at this point through the whole thing.
Even
and we cut away right after he cuts the rope.
Yeah, that moment right before of him being like, I can hear Harlo calling for me, so I have to move further down, because as far as I can tell, they're still tied together.
Yes.
And so Harlow's like, I got to the end of the rope. You got to come down so that we can go down together. But Bainisk is like afraid. He's like, oh, this is a sheer cliff. There's not a lot of handholds. And so he's like, I'll just hold on for as long as possible. And then that moment that like the rope is like grabbed from above them, which is why I'm like, were they tied together? It's the rope tied to something else. And there's a moment of indecision where he reached to go cut the rope underneath him and instead cut the rope above him. And there's like,
well, I think he does both, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't. He thinks about going behind him to cut Harlo free, and then cuts himself free. And that like last second switch, and sort of the when we come back to them, we can sort of touch on it again. But it's very, all those factors combined make for like a very interesting little end to this tale.
Well, we do cut away back to Cruel's bar, and everybody is, in mourning for Murillo. Blend is having these thoughts about, well, I guess I need a new lover now. Maybe Solara. I don't know. She be into it? I don't know. She kind of likes dudes.
Blend's kind of going through her continued grief over Picker's absence from her corporeal body.
I mean, I guess I said they're grieving over Murillo. That's not really the case. They're still worried about their situation with the assassins. And Ansi is assembling an arsenal. I love this funny scene of like him trying to pack all the weapons on himself.
Just got to be prepared for any and all assassins, for every assassin to be there.
Just how can I stack as many weapons on me as I possibly can?
How many scabbards can I hold? A skirt of short swords would probably work funny. Well enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Fisher is the bard is like, hey, you don't need to do this. I bought the contract out. And Nancy's like, you're not even the real Fisher.
This scene was so peculiar.
I think it's just Ansi being a paranoid conspiracy theorist.
Well, then whose brain are we going through? Because then he's like, you're not even the real Fisher. And then it says the man who called himself Fisher, not like in the narrative sort of voice.
Right.
And then later, Duiker's like, the poet is immortal. And they're like, is that just like a poetic thing of like saying like poems are immortal so they live on? Or are you saying that this guy's immortal? And they're like, I'll never tell. But I'm like, maybe like people don't know who Fisher is, but I'm like, something's up. There's too many little clues.
Interesting. My reading of it was that we're sort of in the Malazan soldier POVs, and so they all find it hard to believe. But I think the truth of it is this is the real Fisher. He is immortal in some magical way and has been around 100 years. And they're like, your poems are 100 years old. He's like, I started young. It's very funny.
I'm sus. Okay.
All right.
I know this book makes me paranoid, but I'm sus.
You are antsy.
I'm antsy. You look. I got the axe between the teeth, and him being like, "Oh, that'd be bad. I'd break my teeth off with that one."
All right, so they leave. Blend, Solara, and Ansi head out. They go to the warden barracks, and the guard's like, "Hey, are you visiting someone?" And Ansi's like, "No, we're here to break somebody out." Guard's like, that's like when you're in line at the TSA, they're like, "No jokes."
Oh my God. I'm like, no jokes. My husband loves the jokes in the TSA, and that causes me great anxiety. Real antsy type.
Well, I'm glad we've settled on it. We know exactly where you land. All right, so they visit Barathal in jail, and I love how this all plays out. Where Barathal has been jailed for this, this he really got screwed by the blacksmiths guild,
Mm-hmm.
and so Blend is like, "Hey, I can pay your fines, but for that stuff, but the fight that you and Char got into, Char got into, you're gonna have to. You got 6 months of hard labor." But the good news is,
You can labor for the
use
guild.
that time as to like count toward your
Apprenticeship
blacksmith
hours.
guild apprenticeship.
So ridiculous. And they're
So
like,
great.
I mean, it's a real bummer, and we hope Char's okay, but this is kind of the best path forward. They can't ignore it. Like, it's
Yeah.
work for the city. It's, to me, I'm like, that was the guards dealing with the annoying whoever that
Lady.
woman was, and
Yeah.
being like, this is our way of turning this right back around, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I mean,
and
maybe,
then-
although a lot of the guards did get pummeled, so I don't know how sympathetic they are. But
very true. But in the end, Ansi, on the other hand, with his threats, gets 3 days of jail time unless he has bad behavior.
yeah,
He's like just stuck in there for good.
I love how the loophole that they find is, you have to have this minimum number of hours, which the hard labor will get you, and then you don't have to stay an apprentice as long as if you can pass the tests.
Mhm.
And since he's like master level blacksmith, he's going to ace the tests no problem. So it's
Yeah.
like they can't hold you back if you score well enough on the tests.
The worst thing
So
that
good.
they ever did for themselves is to try to arrest you for doing the job that you were going to do.
Incredible. So good. It's bureaucracy working against itself, which is
Yeah.
great. All right, then we have a couple of really, to my mind, awesome scenes, although I don't quite know what they add up to. But they're just such a joy to read. Where we go, Baruch, the alchemist, heads over to the Temple of Shadow, knocks on the door. A monkey opens the door. He's like, "What is going on here?" He walks in. There's some crazy lady with weird hair who like disintegrates into spiders in a second. He's like,
I love that she's like, I picture her like standing there and just going like, and him being like, don't hex me, lady. Come on.
"Yeah,
Get the hex away." And she's like, you'll regret that when the spiders come. And he's like, what? And she turns into spiders. He's like, what in the hell? Just-
He walks in and he's like, "Hey, you have a witch of Ardata in your lobby. Are you aware of that?" And Sordico is like, "Yeah, it's been a weird couple of days." She's got, I got worse news because this doofus is also with us. And Squirrel Pust is like, "Hey, everybody." So
just the
fun.
fact that he's constantly like, hello, my love. It's like,
Yeah.
like that workplace of like, don't call me sweetheart. Don't call me sweetheart. Look, I'm like the second highest ranking person here. Just please shut up.
Yeah. Just stop. By the way, we've had a number of questions. I think we've done a couple as non-spoiler topics. We've talked more than once about how we would cast this series of novels with actors if we were so tasked to do so. And I had a realization of who I think would be the perfect Iskerl Pust.
Who?
Michael Keaton. like
Oh my
full
God.
Beetlejuice mode.
Ooh,
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good pull.
or if you've ever seen Kenneth Branagh's Much Ado About Nothing, he plays what's the character's name? Dog. What's the character's name? Anyway, he's in totally doing Iskral Pust style, like just wacky and like he would be so perfect.
He would be excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent for that role.
Anyway, Iskral is like sharpening knives because he's just gonna kill all them monkeys. I gotta use 400 knives to kill 400 monkeys.
Yeah. one dagger each.
Yeah. And Baruch and Sortiko come in, and Sortiko's like, Baruch's like, that is a high priest of your religion, and she's like, I'm having a crisis of faith about it. Don't.
He looks over her, and at any point in time, she looks like she's about to cry, just out of sadness of
broken by this horrible man. Yeah. So
and
funny.
isn't it Baruch who's like in there, and he looks, and the Bokaral, isn't he like, yeah, it's not a soul taken or anything. It's just they're just these monkeys, which I thought was like. Because the whole time I'm like, there's something. They got to be something. The paranoia once again. But no, they're just they
just love Iskral, you know? He's their god.
Mm-hmm.
And then Iskral's like, I have a message from Shadow Throne. You have to watch over a gate. He's like, which gate? He's like, could be this one, could be that one, could be these two. And Baruch's like, well, you've named all of them.
I love that.
That's all of them.
Those are the gates. Those are them.
So funny. And then while they're talking, the monkeys come and take the knives, which is so great.
He's like, how do they know my plans? And it's like, that he's just been saying them out loud.
Yeah.
He's just been saying them out loud.
How does everybody know what I'm thinking?
It's so stupid.
Delightful. Anyway, I have no idea what the watch over a gate thing is about, but I'm sure we'll find out.
I assumed that was just for maybe Harlo coming back. I assume that Harlo's important in some way. And
oh, really? Interesting.
To me, I was like,
to Shadow Throne?
Well, just coming back to the city, and then I don't know why that would matter to Shadow Throne. I don't know why a lot of things matter to Shadow Throne, but he'll kind of come in and do a little nudge somewhere. And so that was my only thought about it.
We have what's her bucket, who's the soul taken dragon lady who's been standing. I thought maybe it was like watch because she's gonna come to life. I don't know.
I
we'll
assumed it was somebody. At the end of the chapter, there's some Convergence coming. So my brain was like, somebody's coming into the city, and one of those groups are going to come through the gate.
I mean, maybe it's Kalor, because we know Kalor is walking toward the city too.
Yeah, I mean, could be. Was something matters to Shadow Throne? Is it Traveler?
Yeah.
Anyway,
on to Lady Spite's ship, where Char has made it, and she's trying to take care of him. And this is like doesn't know what to do with this guy. She's like, we could heal your brain, but maybe that would make you not as happy. And I don't know what to do. You know what? I got to go talk to my sister. I hate my sister. Oh, what a giant bee.
But I do like that she is comforting him for the most part, and like he's like just so overcome with his emotions that he's sad, but she is like, it's okay, there's lots of things, he's gonna be fine. And she's like internally like, I don't know what to do, but the line of her being like, I have to go visit my sister, it's gonna be so short, but you can stay here, and you know that you can stay here and you'll be fine. And then the internal of like, Char sometimes knows that nodding is the right thing to do. And sometimes it's because he understands, and sometimes just because he knows not he should nod. And this is one of those times.
And it's no idea what she's saying.
Okay. We'll see what happens there. Mischief is in our future.
Well, it is funny that you're right. She's being comforting and kind of being nice, kind of like unlady Spite like, but. It's even funnier where she keeps saying something that triggers him. She's like, "It's okay, you'll be fine. Barathol is probably not." He's like, "Ah!" Every time she just keeps like,
she's there's a sweet tone, but no actual sensitivity.
That's right. All right, so then we go back to Krupp explaining how Murillo is delivered, the corpse of Murillo, the in the ox cart, wrapped in a sheet or whatever, and Mies comes over and pulls off the cover and sees that it's Murillo. Everyone in the Phoenix Inn is really sad. They send word to Cole, and the ox cart driver explains as much as he knows about what's going on, that it was they were dueling for some boy, and Krupp is like, I know which boy that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, I love all of this, as we mentioned, with Krupp's narration being very much not impartial, very invested in this moment, and him even saying, if there's two people on their way to Phoenix's Inn, if the order in which they arrived were different, everything would play out differently. But unfortunately, Crocus arrives before Rallick.
Did he say unfortunately?
I think he says, "Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting." Maybe I inferred the unfortunate.
He basically says, unfortunately,
things would have been different, but Crocus arrived first.
To me, that it does imply an unfortunately of some measure.
Yeah.
But it is the story that he tells about if Rallick had gotten here first. Rallick, experienced killer, like level-headed, knowing what sort of needs to be done, would have taken it on, and he would have shrugged overall and said, I'm already lost. Like I'm not more lost than I was before I got this news. And so to me, it was like, unfortunately, in that it is like a thread to Crocus's personal demise, because Rallick would have been internally fine. But I don't know if that actually, I don't know what that results in. It's like Crocus's just loss of his spirit is going down this path of pain and
well, he becomes
killitude.
a full-on assassin at this point. I don't know. I definitely can see this being Crocus's death. I could definitely see Gorlas also killing Crocus. I would not put that out of the realm of possibility for this novel. I think this could be the end of the line for Crocus, and that he never reunites with Absalar.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to happen, but I fear may happen.
I agree with that. I guess it's interesting to sort of see the two sides of everybody being like, you don't want no part of this life. And then the patron god of assassins being tied up in like Shadowthrone's weird stuff, but clearly being one of the most sensitive characters in this book and the most empathetic characters in the book. So it is interesting to see all of it's interesting to see how this plays out. What do they think is unfortunate? Because they were like, don't do it. Even before. Yeah. And we sort of know that Cotillion has a empathetic edge. I don't know. There's a lot of considerations there.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that happens here too is that, Crocus comes in, everybody's crying and sad, and he's like, what's going on? And Krupp is like, well, Murillo is dead. And he's like, how did he die? And we have that moment where Krupp is like, do I tell him who did it?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can't remember the exact line, but it's something like, there's no stopping this thing, like this is sort of fate playing out, and there's no way. I may as well tell him, because there's no way to stop this. This is already in motion.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, you have Krupp as the narrator and Krupp as the character, sort of almost at odds with each other. And, Krupp as the narrator saying, well, if things could have played out differently, and Krupp as the character being like, well, it's already happening, which I guess isn't necessarily at odds. It's kind of an extension, but yeah. I just don't tell him, Krupp. Don't tell him.
If you everything he's wrapped up in.
Yeah.
Just chill. Couldn't you wait 10 minutes?
Yeah. Right.
Like, we'll tell everybody when everybody gets here.
And then Crocus, of course, leaps to the wrong conclusion, which is that Gorlas did it to him, right? To punish Crocus.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, well, it's on now. I got to go. And as he's leaving, Mies is like, yeah, get him.
Yeah.
I thought was cool.
Yeah.
All right, then we go over to Bellum Nom, who is still taking care of Hinty and Mew, the two little kids that Snell tried to
younger
kill.
siblings.
Yeah, and brings them to the dueling school to find Stani. I love this scene. He basically gives a little tough love to Stani, and from a kid, from her student, like. What a great kid Bellum Nom is. Just this awesome, young, but mature kid.
Yeah. Got the street smarts and in whatever world now, some amount of just general privilege. And that I think is in a space like this, coming and you're like, have a family that's well off. People are like, I should listen to you. There's like some amount of like default respect because you're not like some street rat trying to come up. There's like an air of that like societal standing that just affords him things, and being able to see him sort of use all of those powers in one sort of swirl for like great good in this moment, showing up, talking to talking to an adult superior instructor, owner of the school you go to, in a way that other adults wouldn't talk to somebody because of their own sensitivities or like respect and whatever, just sort of societal things. Combined with your perspective and toughness and need to go do the right thing. It was just such a great scene. He brings
I agree.
Yeah.
So good. His unwillingness to indulge in her self-pity and being like, no, there's people that rely on you and you're done abdicating that responsibility.
There's people that rely on you and have been helping you. And now it's your turn to carry some weight.
That's right. Yeah. And sort of knocking her out of this spiral that she's been, this I think, suicidal death spiral that she was in. And saying, hey, well, guess what? My parents are worried about me. So I got to go home now and make sure my parents know I'm okay. You got to take care of these kids because I don't know where their parents are. And I don't know where Murillo is. And this stuff's bad. And you got to step up.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And especially you got to step up. I don't know where their parents are, but they took care of your kid when you weren't around.
Yeah.
It's just like immediately tying those two things together. It's just so well done.
So well done. And then we have this really disturbing moment where Chardon Lim comes back for Chalice and is like, hey, I know everybody knows you've been stooping this nobody, this street rat. You're supposed to be stooping me. I'm supposed to be the guy you are cheating on your husband with. In fact, we're going to do it right now.
I'm supposed to be the adultery.
Yeah. It's like, it's time for you to do that right now because I guess it doesn't matter to you. So let's do it. And Chalice, broken, whatever you want to say, does it and then thanks him after, which kind of jars him into this weird place too.
Yeah. Well, it sort of brings around that whole kind of conversation with Crocus that she had, and like her self-preservation of the things she needs and the things that she has to find some kind of revelry in, is her like, I guess, in this rape that is she is experiencing, being like, I have this caged moon thing, this idea of freedom. What a joke. I'd have to like just sort of do these things that will make my life easier in certain ways. And from my husband's perspective, somebody else to seek, to kill, to whatever, this loop. Yeah, I guess this is the thing that is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or I'm there's like such a nuanced internal moment here for Chalice that I'm not even paraphrasing it right. But at the end, her being like, thanks, man, is her, like, I think thanking him for having that moment to like think through things and realize what sort of her position in the world was. And it's just sort of like the whole very icky and sucky.
Super icky. Yeah. Then back to the Phoenix Inn, Cole arrives. He's like, man, I got to outlaw these dueling laws. This sucks. Rallick shows up. Irilta is crying as she tells him what happens. And they decide to toast the life of Murillo. And Cole's like, yeah, give me that liquor. We know, of course, Cole is a recovering alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Krupp purposely gives him near beer.
Yeah.
his little tries to, he knows that he can't give him nothing, but he picks a wine that is, as close to non-alcoholic as he can get.
He says it's not wine at all. He says it's like a special blend of
Yeah.
spices that
Right.
is pretends to be wine in a way.
Yeah.
So that it tastes enough like it that you're like, it tastes like a fine vintage of spiced whatever. But them drinking and being like, what the hell? This wine's doing nothing.
So funny. Cole's like, what is wrong with this wine? I feel nothing. And then Rallick straight up slaps Cole and is like, don't do this. And then Mies smashes the wine bottle on the ground and is like, you want to go back to being an alcoholic? You don't do it here, and you don't do it to disrespect Murillo.
Yeah. Nobody is backsliding in any of their habits when we have to mourn. Which is it's powerful. Like the immediate sort of undoing of everybody emotionally, sort of everybody sort of retreating into themselves. And I think it's this scene that even talks about grief being this solitary experience.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody individual is sort of, I did too. We probably have the same polls.
We probably do.
Everybody in that moment sort of reeling on their own and this spreading apart of them emotionally in the space, and Krupp and Mies sort of literally snapping them out of it, the slap to the face, making the right wine, and the shattering of the wine on the ground and being like, get it together. And then everybody sort of comes back together again as best as possible to. And
I think that's what's so amazing about this chapter is that it really is a chapter about grief and the facets of grief. And it starts with the breath of love. The day starts with the breath of love, ends with the breath of grief. And we have, the different ways that people are handling the grief of Murillo. We have Stawny's grief. We have
Chalice's grief.
Yeah, we have Harlo's grief, which we will get to shortly. But yeah, you're right. Chalice's grief. It really is this many faceted look at how people handle that that horrible feeling, and I just think it's just beautiful and incredible.
One of my favorite things I like seeing is basically every week, just going back to like our text history is one of us texting the other person, this book.
Yeah.
We
just text each other, this book! Exclamation point. Yeah. That's so true.
Yep.
Another character, Blend and Picker's grief. We go to we have this moment now of Picker sort of in this comatose state in this dream world, having a very lengthy vision, I'll say, of her being followed by Tog and Fanderay, the wolves of war. And she thinks it's because she wore those torques way back in whatever book that was, that eventually went to
Memories
Gruntle.
of Ice, I think. I think it's Memories of Ice.
I think you're right. I think it's Memories of Ice. Although maybe it started in Deadhouse. I don't know. But I think it's Memories of Ice. Anyway, she's like running through the forest. Her hands are falling off. Her feet are falling off. She eventually comes and sees these humanoids that they have spears, and they take her prisoner. They lead her through this cave.
They scare off the other predators. So she knows she's being chased by the dogs. She senses this other predator, which wasn't it? Didn't we think it was Kilava? There was like a conversation being like, you have to keep.
The
safe.
Panther lady. Yeah. Right.
So she turns around at some point to see all the sort of primitive people with the spears, like at like the cat that's like, that runs away eventually.
Then she goes into this cave, and then the ground like falls, disappears beneath her, and she falls. And that's how the scene ends.
Is it in a Zoth house, do you think, that she walks in?
Oh, interesting. No, I didn't think that, but maybe.
Yeah,
wow, that would be interesting.
It had that same kind of feeling of them in that space and then falling through different places. I don't know, but same vibes.
I thought interesting that we cut right from her falling to Harlo falling.
Yeah.
landing on these boulders. He doesn't break any bones, but he's all cut up.
Mhm.
And then he hears Bainisk sort of moaning, having fallen also, and his face is all smashed. This moment is truly heartbreaking, where
Here,
Bainisk, is dying and basically asks him to tell him about the city.
here are the pieces of it that all sort of came into play to make this sad sequence sad. The building of their friendship over time.
Yeah.
Bainisk's desire for the city. Bainisk driving this escape for Harlo, another person sort of sacrificing themselves for this kid.
Yeah.
Then getting to that part of the cliff and Harlo's confidence to a degree is scuttling down the cliff, and even him being like, ooh, there's like not really any handholds here. But Bainisk's fear is the thing that killed him. Harlo fell, did not break bones, got cut up, but did not die.
Yeah.
If Bainisk had just been slightly braver, had just descended down the cliff a little bit further, they both could have just made it. But in the end, he didn't climb down the cliff, and he still looked up and sort of chose between cutting Harlo loose and trying to make sure Harlo had freedom, but then looking up and seeing a certain death in like the eyes of the people who have been chasing him down, chose to risk it and chose to die instead of going back to that for his dreams of freedom and dreams of the city. It's just so beautifully laced together for this brief, poetic, tragic relationship and individual. I just thought
You're
it was
so
beautiful.
great, right, to call all that out. The other thing I'd add is one of the things that really hit for me was when Harlo does tell him about the city, the way he describes it. He isn't like, oh, there's so many sick things to do. There's like big buildings. It's so rad. The food is amazing. No, he says it's a place where mothers love their sons, where nobody wants to get rid of you, where fathers don't rape. It's like, it's so heartbreaking that this 6-year-old kid, like that's his idea of describe utopia. Well, it's a place where your parents actually like you and they don't want to get rid of you and they don't do horrible things. It's just like,
and knowing that would hit for Bainisk too. It's partially
they're
like
all the same, all these kids.
Yeah. It's so
they've all gone through it.
Touching and just
we
so sad.
heard even Venaz, right? It went like Krupp is tells us that it's the same for all these kids. They're all, the only reason you find yourself here is because your parents were
stolen,
dirtbags.
You were sold, you were unwanted, unwatched. Yeah.
Unlooked for.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking scene, beautifully written, beautifully executed. And then the end of chapter 19 is Krupp basically kind of doing that thing we've seen before in this novel of checking in on all these places around the city, all of the people that we're curious about. Murillo's body interred, Lady Envy looking for her sister. We can even check in on characters we haven't looked at in a while, Scorch and Leff and Torvald, who are sort of doing their thing in the compound, which I feel like is like, don't forget, this is, there's something going to happen here.
Yeah.
Chalice holding her moon globe, Blend crying over Picker's body, Jewiker and Fisher about to play a song. The sad one, Irilta, who has this sort of unrequited love for Murillo, slashing her own wrists.
Ugh.
So sad.
So sad.
Bellum Nom still looking for Murillo. And then Crocus, who stole one of Cole's horses from his estate, riding off and then imagining that Absalar's like, don't do this. Don't do this. This is why I am really worried that this is the end of the line for Crocus, because it really feels like him not doing, like having another thing telling him, don't do it. Turn back. You have one more chance to save yourself, and him stubbornly, stupidly continuing.
It's one of those things that I'm torn between. I think no matter what, it's a sort of certain demise, but what that demise looks like is the part that
is it mortal or is it psychological or is it something?
He's now inextricably linked with Cotillion and whatever plans. Is he now just
Right.
a greater pawn in a grander scheme that will also, that no matter what, it's a loss of life, loss of agency, could be
Right.
death, could be. I feel like this book has like an innumerable number of possibilities for what demise looks like, and you know what? At the end of the day, it's still demise, baby. None of them feel great.
Yeah. All right, that's the end of chapter 19. Chapter 20 starts. We're back with Nimander and the crew. They are also in mourning because Kedivus has been killed. And they are all, freaking out because Nimander, is not showing any grief about it.
Yeah.
And
like losing respect for him because he doesn't seem to care.
Right. Skintig wants to bury it like a human would, which is kind of odd. And they're all freaking out and kind of putting together the fact that Clip is not Clip anymore. It's like, how could Clip get worse? Somehow worse than the jerkwad we saw before.
Yeah. We don't see the scene where Clip comes in to be like, oh, she fell. Oh.
Yeah.
But like, I can just picture the non-delivery of that. Like, it's
bad
just
acting.
Yeah, exactly. Can you?
You guys should have been here like 2 minutes ago. Yeah. Anyway, but basically they put it together and they're like, Clip killed Kedivus, right? Nimander, right? And Nimander's like, we stay quiet. Nobody says a word. And they all realize, hey, he actually is our leader. Nimander is our leader. And we were sort of giving him leadership without even knowing it.
It was another moment that this was sort of pointed out, similar to in the scene in the Phoenix Inn, an immediate fraying of them.
Like
and
my
there's
Kindle
suspicion
case.
Exactly, like a denim Kindle case. They frayed, and then Nimander came in and snipped it right off, and they were right back together again.
That's right. He's the sticker that keeps them all together.
They're light in the darkness. But them all being like, I can't believe you don't care about this. I can't believe you don't care about her, about us, and like, don't you want to, like, we think it's him, like, we know it's him, we have to, and then him just being able to keep everybody chill, and this sort of splaying of everything and then reining it right back into what it needs to be to sort of make through, and the further implications. Where are we going? Why are we going there? How are we helping him? And trying to put together the grander plan so that they can actually do something greater about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So good.
Awesome.
All right, then we transition to a scene from the point of view of Monkrat. What? And Monkrat is thinking about how Salind said, no believer should arrive willing. Don't trust any easy believer, which I thought was such a profound notion of you should, if it's easy for you to believe in something, there's something up with you.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good.
But also the manipulative end of that, of being like, you are so destitute and so desperate, I know you believe because you've got no choice. It's like sort of a despicable other side of that.
Oh, totally. And I think a lot of this novel, this side of this novel, all the stuff with the Redeemer, all the stuff even with Animator Rake and Endist and all that stuff, it really feels to me like an indictment of belief in religion, as a whole, and this sort of the manipulation that happens there. And I'm so down for that. Just like it's, I think the insight is profound.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get a character I never thought we'd see again. Old Spindle shows up, old hair shirt himself.
I was going crazy trying to be like, what? When did we last see Spindle?
He just wandered off, I think, last time. Or he basically says, we all were reported dead, so we could do whatever we wanted. Dujek said, via con Dios, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Spindle has been like walking the earth, and it came back to look for Itkovian because of how profound that experience was, seeing Itkovian and Itkovian's demise. So he's going back to visit the barrow because he wants to leave a sharper there. I'm going to leave a bomb as a way to show respect.
Yeah. Well, I thought no, Munkrat, I think, was there and left the bomb already. So he said, I have a sharper in there, in that stack, which to me, I'm like,
oh,
are they just going to blow that up later? It's not a cusser, I guess. But to me, I'm like, there's already a bomb in the barrow. Munkrat was there for it. And so he was like, well.
Interesting.
And that was I thought, that he was sort of released in that time. And then you're
right. He left the sharper when he was first buried. You're right. Yeah. Okay. I was confused, clearly. Anyway, Munkrat is like, well, hey, that dragon lady, it doesn't matter what we do, that dragon lady is gonna come burn everything to ground anyway.
And then and he's like, what dragon lady? He's like, all right, well, let's take a walk.
Oh, I'll show you. I'm gonna show you.
Anyway,
she's gonna just roast all of us. But yeah, come on.
Well, honestly, it could be good for that shirt. I love him being like, recognizing him from the stink off the hair shirt.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I words I never thought of. I'm so glad the hair shirt's back in our life.
Oh, me too. I love the hair shirt. Love the hair shirt. And then it begins to rain, which I think we're going to find out later. It's not regular rain. So then we go. We have a scene from the POV of the high priestess, who is really ruminating. This feels a little. This scene feels a little navel gazy, but in a good way.
And we all definitely know which high priestess this is.
Yes. She's thinking about, her relationship with the goddess. This is more of that sort of philosophical, where does religion play in? Where does belief play in? Where does the role of someone who is supposed to lead other people into belief and worship?
Mm-hmm.
And she's thinking about all that stuff. She's thinking about how Rake responded to his sort of position. And she realizes that his betrayal of his mom was actually necessary. We're sort of realizing that it's not his fault. He had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then this historian enters, a temple historian, asking about, hey, just real quick question. Just a quick question. Hey, high priestess, I don't mean to bother you. Just wanted to, some of us are outside talking. Are we at war right now?
It's not that we're just not like 100% sure if we're at war. And she's like, you have no idea.
War?
Well,
we're so at war. You have no.
Oh my God. So at war. Okay. Let me get the notebook. I'll start taking notes on the war that we're in now.
There's so many fronts of this war. Sit down, because this is going to be a long explanation. Anyway, she's like, well, the historian's like, well, I'm a historian. Should I I don't know, record all this stuff? And she's like, you should probably just get it on with some man, because we got so little time left.
Girl, get your bangs in and get out somewhere. Whatever you gotta do.
Come on. No one's going to read what you're writing. You just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself while you can.
Live life in the darkness.
And then we check back in with Sir Doman and the Redeemer, Itkovian, who Sir Doman is like, hey, Redeemer, while I've got you here, can you tell me about redemption, Redeemer? And Itkovian's like, no, I have no clue about. Nope, that's a topic I have nothing to add on. And he's like, you're called the Redeemer, bro.
He's like, I didn't pick the name. I'm just a guy.
Just an Itkovian over here.
I'm just a little guy in here. I can't even protect myself.
And then he's like, well, at least explain to me the difference between the crippled god and the dying god, because they sound super similar. She's like, and Kobe's like, yeah. Common misconception. Very, very different. I'm like, at least I feel validated as a reader. Conflating the two sometimes.
It's like one's trying to usurp the other. One of them is in a little they're the crippled god. They're going to have a tough time protecting themselves from the dying one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crippled God says you suffer to obtain salvation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dying God says you die to achieve salvation. Oh, I guess that it's right there in their names, I guess.
And so the thing that I thought was interesting was then looking back at the new church in that town, Darujhistan, where they were like, this is the house of chains. Crippled folk come here. The only way to get salvation is we kill you. And I'm like, so was that the crippled god temple?
Interesting. Yeah,
Or
maybe.
was it a sneaky dying god temple? And who really owns the house of chains?
Ooh, good. That's so good. I'm so curious. Well, anyway, the rain starts, and it ain't no normal rain. It's Kellic rain.
A little
slimy,
thick, a little sticky.
Icky rain. Kellic rain, which causes Celine's head to come up and be like, oh, delicious rain, maybe. Delicious. Then we see Kalor walking through, on his long walk to Darujhistan. He sees it finally on the horizon, glowing blue. And he is like, yeah, I'm gonna sit on a throne, the Temple of Chains. This is gonna be sweet. I'm gonna sit there. The other gods are gonna destroy the crippled god, leaving total open throne for me to plop my batukas on.
Yeah,
that seems like the plan.
That seems like the plan, and the throne. He's also like, and nobody's even really looking at this throne.
Yeah.
It's kind of the idea that I got.
It's going to be so easy for me to just get back on this throne, baby.
Put my butt in the seat.
Boom.
The throne, did he describe it as like very simple and like iron chair? He described it in some way that just in my remembering right now, I'm like, does it have to do with the blacksmith guild in some way?
Oh, interesting. You always make these great connections that I
didn't think about it when I read it, but just now in my memory, it's something. It's like a chair that is chill, and this whole blacksmith guild situation, maybe that's related.
Interesting. All right, well then we go over to Samar, Dev, and Traveler and Karsa Orlong. Samar is
stubborn,
so good. This scene is so good. Every scene with them is so good. She's like climbing up this hill, having to grab onto plants and trees to pull herself up just to it's so steep. And Karsa's at the top on his horse, like just waiting for her. Just like pulls up in his convertible, like, hey babe, hop in. Why are you walking? Babe, hop in. Babe. Just sitting there with the convertible Corvette, just like, babe, just like going 5 miles an hour as she's like walking alongside. Babe, get in, babe.
There's a chair here. He rides down to her slightly so that he's like in her way, and she's like, and goes around him on this steep hill. Yes. You're just in the way, man. You're just in the way.
It's so good. It's so good. Just will not give him the satisfaction of having comfort, of her being comfortable.
Yeah.
I will not accept your help. I will suffer.
You think I'm going to sit behind you on a horse with my arms wrapped around your waist? No. Stop.
No, I will.
I'd rather do it myself. And I can picture that hill. I mean, I feel like we've all been on like a hike or something where it's like, it's loose and you're like, these plants got to have something, but you know that they're just like ripping out by their root. And it's just the struggle to get up there is such a funny scene.
So funny. And then we actually jump into Karsa's POV. And he's thinking about how, like everybody is trying to tempt him with power. Like, I can't be broken. Crippled God thinks he can just offer me his sword. Not Karsa Orlong, baby. And Samar doesn't even understand. I'm going to, she calls me dumb, but she don't know. Mm-hmm. He understands, though, why she doesn't want to ride on Havoc. He's like, I get it. I respect that. She doesn't want to surrender.
Yeah.
And Samar's like, well, they had to get into this conversation about like why she's a witch,
Yeah.
which is rad. It's like, why did you decide to become a witch? She's like, I don't know. I was curious about stuff. And he's like, well, guess what? The spirits that you talk to are curious about you. That's why that bear man showed up.
And that's something that I definitely got wrong last week is in her sort of spiel when they're at the campfire and the bear showed up and then left. I thought she was saying that Karsa was like a god of war.
No,
But
I think it was like, hey, there's so many gods of war. There's wolf gods and tiger gods and bear gods. Oh my,
Yeah. It all clicked back into place as soon as they had this conversation, obviously. But in that time, I thought she was like having a realization that the bear came over because there's godlike energy and Karsa might be a god of war. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, interesting. So I just got it.
Karsa's like, hey, they're just curious. They're just checking in on you because you talk to spirits. And so they're just like, hey, who is this lady?
Yeah.
And then there's this very ominous change that they notice in Traveler, who's gotten real dark and dour. And Samar's like, why did he change? And Karsa says, shadows are cruel. Bum, bum, bum. Don't know what that's about.
I don't know what that's about either.
Yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, then back to Dragnipur. Inside Dragnipur, Draconis is strangling Kataspala, who evidently had tried to create a child god with those tattoos, using Ditch as the brain. I was like, oh, wow, this is some new concepts.
Some powerful tattoos.
Yeah. And that Draconis is like, no, here's the deal. Dragnipur was designed to keep darkness in and chaos out. You will not be using your tattoo powers to bring chaos in here. And Ditch is thinking like every soul starts with a word, which I thought was a cool idea. Mm-hmm. And Kataspala's word that he tattooed onto Ditch is kill.
It's interesting because like very ominous, where he's like putting him in and getting the tattoo, and Draconis being like, you were supposed to tattoo him to be protections against that storm. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to give us more time to exist, to figure something out, to whatever.
Yeah.
And then knowing instead that he tattooed the old kill word on him is like, oh, that doesn't seem great.
That seems bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're back to our TTG friends, Precious Thimble, and everybody, all the ladies really waiting, because they were like, we're not going to be into Curse Land. We don't want the lady curse to get us. Yep. Totally a fair presumption or plan, I guess. So they see all the boys come back looking a lot worse for wear.
The wagon with a big cartoon bandage on the side of it. Yeah.
They're all limping home, and they're like, what happened? And they're like, that was like the worst marital argument I've ever experienced in my life. And Sweetest Suffering says the greatest. She's like, hey, girls, anybody feeling bloodthirsty?
Yeah.
Just like nobody thinks it's funny except me. I thought it was very funny.
I did too.
And then Cartographer's, they're like, how do we get out of here? Where are we going to go? And Cartographer's like, hey, guess what? My name's Cartographer. I can draw a map. I'll do it.
Cartographer. Cartographer is like so funny to be like, that's my name. And you're like, whatever, zombie. And then you're like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
This is your thing.
So he draws this map on the ground in the dirt, but he says, I need magic to infuse it to make it work. And Master Quell, you can do it. And he's like, I don't, you got to tell me more before I magic this up.
I love that. Like, hey, you're talking kind of different or better. And he's like, yeah, I'm coming more into my head again. And they're like, okay, well, where does this go? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I think he's like, they're like, well, you couldn't do this before. He's like, no, that's because I was not like in my right brain, but I'm smart and good and I have solutions to problems. Remember the coconuts? They're like, we all remember the coconuts.
Remember the coconuts? How great that was?
He's like, I got great ideas. Anyway,
Yeah.
light it up. And they're like,
Yeah. Anyway, who wants to tie me back to the wheel?
I love that. And yeah, can somebody wrote me back on here?
So good.
So silly.
All right. Then the last few scenes of the chapter, Kalor is heading toward Darujhistan. Samar, Karsa, and Traveler are just 9 miles west of Kalor. The Hounds are just 3 miles north of those guys, and they howl.
Yow.
Toll those hounds, baby.
Toll it up.
And everybody hears, and nobody likes it.
Everybody disliked that.
Everybody feels like that's a bad sound. If the if the hounds are tolling, that seems bad. And Chilbeus, we end the chapter with Chilbeus, who's been watching what's her bucket, the dragon lady, and hears the dragon hounds howl and goes, oh, midnight is striking. It's on. So I feel like we're in the end game now in the novel.
Sure feels like it.
Sure feels like it.
Great.
Good ones.
Chapters. Great
Good ones.
chapters.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. All right. So I think we very much are likely to have the same polls this week. I have 3.
I also have 3. I know that 2 of ours are the same ones.
All right. So, why don't you start?
I'll do the grief one.
Okay.
It's short. I only got the last little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have long ones this week.
Me neither.
Survivors do not mourn together. They each mourn alone, even when in the same place. Grief is the most solitary of all feelings. Grief isolates, and every ritual, every gesture, every embrace is a hopeless effort to break through that isolation. None of it works. The forms crumble and dissolve. To face death is to stand alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. I had heard, and Mr. Erikson can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I read somewhere that this novel was written after Steven had someone pass away in his family. I think it was a parent, but I could be wrong. I don't want to get that wrong. But my understanding was that this novel was written in the shadow of grief, and boy, it sure feels like an authentic representation of that emotion, that experience.
Yeah,
and that's beautifully summed up in that passage, which I had also pulled. It's beautiful. Here's another expression of that, which I think is the end bookend of chapter 19. The soul knows no greater anguish than to take a breath that begins with love and ends with grief. But there are other anguishes, many others. They unfold as they will, and to dwell within them is to understand nothing, except perhaps this. In love, grief is a promise. As sure as hoods nod, there will be many gardens, but this last one to visit is so very still, not meant for lovers, not meant for dreamers, meant only for a single figure there in the dark, standing alone, taking a single breath. Gorgeous.
it's gorgeous. I feel like I can't comment or think too hard about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Sad.
Beautiful, beautifully written.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had one last single sentence on a lighter note, much lighter note. That is the TTG as they are leaving the village and sort of just coming together again with the ladies who left the town. Well, I'm actually going to bring the sentence back a little bit just because I like the whole thing, but it's the last sentence is the one I pulled. Precious approached Gruntle. What happened back there? He shook his head. You truly do not want to know which. Why did Jaghood bother getting married at all? Recanto asked, his face pale as the moon. Gods below, like Glano might say. That was the most petty, tracted, nephomanimous argument that I've ever seen. 'Twas still in full swing when we blaggard it out of there. Blaggard, said Faint. The carriage can barely crawl, ilk. Ain't nothing so tensifying as running for your life at a snail's pace.
Ain't nothing so tensifying. I love it. I love his malapropisms. Oh, just a delight. Delight. Ain't nothing so tensifying. Here's my last one, which is another one that really, I think, is relevant to our times, as much of these novels are. The lie of wisdom is best hidden in monologue. Dialogue exposes it. Most people purporting to wisdom dare not engage in dialogue, lest they reveal the paucity of their assumptions and the frailty of their convictions. Better to say nothing, to nod and look thoughtful.
I almost pulled that one. I didn't, but that was the other one that really struck me. I love what it says, again, just about greater context of the world and just like a thoughtful insight, but also looking at the characters in the book and like characters that, both monologue and dialogue. What does that say about Krupp? What does that say about...
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's like, delicious. Great Paul.
Yeah.
Nada.
Great books. Book good.
Book.
Hey, we are in it. I think we only have 2 more weeks.
Woo!
Right? 2 more weeks of this novel. My goodness.
When we first started reading the whole series, it felt like it was going to take us a long time. And that amount of time hasn't changed, but it just feels like it races by. I really can't believe we're in the last third of the series. It's just crazy.
Well, the fact that we only have 2 books left after this, it almost makes me...
What are we going to do? I'm going to have grief of the loss of having to leave this universe.
Well, I know there's other novels we can read in the universe. There's all kinds of other stuff we can do, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's like, I feel like we've crested the mountain and now we're on the downward slope, and it just feels like, anyway, good stuff. Thank you for being with us. We are having a blast. Keep please sending those non-spoiler topic suggestions into dlcfeedback@gmail.com. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Do your best to keep dancing.
When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with the